The 5 rules of financial health, according to an expert. The expression, individual budget, alludes to how you deal with your cash and plan for your future. The entirety of your monetary choices and exercises affect your monetary well-being. We are frequently guided by explicit dependable guidelines. For example, don't accept a house that costs more than over 2 years of pay, or, you ought to consistently save in any event 10% of your pay toward retirement. While large numbers of these proverbs are dependable and supportive, it's imperative to consider what we ought to do, as a rule, to help improve our monetary well-being and propensities. Here we examine 5 wide individual accounting decisions that can help get you on target to accomplishing explicit monetary objectives. 1. Figure it out. Net worth and personal budgets. Cash comes in, cash goes out. For some individuals, this is probably just about as profound as their agreement gets about individual accounting records. As opposed to disregarding your funds and leaving them to risk, a touch of calculating can assist you with assessing your present monetary well-being and decide how to arrive at your short and long-haul monetary objectives. As a beginning stage, it is essential to figure your net worth, the contrast between what you own and what you owe. To compute your total assets, start by making a rundown of your resources, what you own, and your liabilities, what you owe. At that point, deduct the liabilities from the resources to show up at your total assets figure. Your total assets address where you are monetarily at that point, and it is typical for the figure to vacillate after some time. Ascertaining your total assets one time can be useful, however, the genuine worth comes from making this computation consistently, in any event yearly. Following your total assets after some time permits you to assess your advancement, feature your victories, and recognize regions requiring improvement. Whenever you've made the fitting projections, take away your costs from your pay. If you have cash left finished, you have an excess, and you can conclude how to spend, save, or put away the cash. On the off chance that your costs surpass your pay, in any case, you should change your financial plan by expanding your pay, adding more hours at work or getting subsequent work, or by diminishing your costs. To truly comprehend where you are monetarily, and to sort out some way to get where you need to be, figure it out, calculate both your total assets and an individual financial plan consistently. This may appear to be richly clear to a few, yet individuals' inability to spread out and adhere to a point-by-point financial plan is the underlying driver of inordinate spending and overpowering obligation. 2. Perceive and manage lifestyle inflation. Most people will go through more cash on the off chance that they have more cash to spend. As individuals advance in their vocations and acquire more significant compensations, there will, in general, be a relating expansion in spending, a marvel known as way of life swelling. Even however you could pay your bills, lifestyle expansion can be damaging in the since quite a while ago run, since it restricts your capacity to assemble riches. Each additional dollar you go through now implies less cash later and during retirement. One of the principal reasons individuals permit way of life expansion to attack their accounts is their longing to stay aware of the Joneses. It's normal for individuals to want to coordinate with their companions and collaborators' ways of managing money. On the off chance that your companions drive BMWs, get away at selective hotels, and eat at costly eateries, you may feel constrained to do likewise. What is barely noticeable is that in numerous cases the Joneses are really adjusting a great deal of obligation, over a time of many years, to keep up their affluent appearance. Notwithstanding their affluent gleam, the boat, the extravagant vehicles, the costly excursions, the non-public schools for the children, the Joneses may be living check to check and not saving a dime for retirement. As your expert and individual circumstance develop over the long haul, a few expansions in spending are regular. You may have to overhaul your closet to dress properly for another position, or, as your family develops, you may require a house with more rooms. Furthermore, with more duties at work, you may find that it bodes well to recruit somebody to trim the grass or clean the house, saving the opportunity to go through with loved ones and improving your personal satisfaction. 3. Perceive needs versus needs, and spend mindfully. Except if you have a limitless measure of cash, it's to your greatest advantage to be aware of the contrast between necessities and needs, so you can settle on better spending decisions. Needs are things you must have to endure: food, cover, medical services, transportation, a sensible measure of garments. Numerous individuals incorporate reserve funds as a need, regardless of whether that is a set 10% of their pay or whatever they can stand to put to the side every month. Then again, needs are things you might want to have yet don't need for endurance. It tends to be trying to precisely name expenses as either needs or needs, and for some, the line gets obscured between the two. At the point when this occurs, it tends to be not difficult to support away from a superfluous or excessive buy by considering it a need. A vehicle is a genuine model. You need a vehicle to will work and take the children to class. You need the extravagance version SUV that costs twice as much as a more down-to-earth vehicle and sets you back additional in gas. You could attempt to consider the SUV a need, since you do, truth be told, need a vehicle, yet it's as yet a need. Any distinction in cost between a more efficient vehicle and the extravagance SUV is cash that you didn't need to spend. Your necessities ought to get the main concern in your own spending plan. Solely after your requirements have been met should you dispense any optional pay toward needs. What's more, once more, on the off chance that you do have cash left over every week or every month after paying for the things you truly need, you don't need to spend everything. 4. Begin saving early. It's regularly said that it's never past the point where it is possible to begin putting something aside for retirement. That might be valid actually, however, the sooner you start, the good you'll probably be during your retirement years. This is a direct result of the force of compounding, what Albert Einstein called the eighth miracle of the world. Compounding includes the reinvestment of income, and it is best after some time. The more drawn-out income is reinvested, the more noteworthy the estimation of the venture, and the bigger the profit will speculatively be. To represent the significance of beginning early, expect you need to save $1 million when you turn 60. On the off chance that you begin saving when you are 20 years of age, you would need to contribute $655.30 every month, a sum of $314,544 more than 40 years, to be a tycoon when you hit 60. If you held up until you were 40, your month-to-month commitment would knock up to $2,432.89, a sum of $583,894 more than 20 years. Stand by until 50 and you'd need to concoct $6,439.88 every month, equivalent to $772,786 over the 10 years. These figures depend on a speculation pace of 5% and no underlying venture. If it's not too much trouble, remember that they are for illustrative purposes just and don't mull over genuine returns, charges, or different components. The sooner you start, the simpler it is to arrive at your drawn-out monetary objectives. You should save less every month, and offer less generally, to arrive at a similar objective later on. 5. Fabricate and maintain an emergency fund. An emergency fund is exactly what the name infers, cash that has been saved for crisis purposes. The asset is planned to help you pay for things that wouldn't typically be remembered for your own spending plan, startling costs, for example, vehicle fixes or a crisis outing to the dental specialist. It can likewise help you pay your normal costs if your pay interferes, for instance, if a disease or injury keeps you from working or if you lose your employment. Albeit the customary rule is to save 3.5 years of everyday costs in a secret stash, the sad truth is that this sum would miss the mark concerning what numerous individuals would have to cover a major cost or climate a misfortune in pay. In the present questionable financial climate, the vast majority should target saving, in any event, a half year of everyday costs, more if conceivable. Placing this as a normal cost thing in your own financial plan is the most ideal approach to guarantee that you are putting something aside for crises and not going through that cash pointlessly. Remember that establishing a crisis reinforcement is a continuous mission. Chances are that when it is subsidized, you will require it for something. Rather than being sad about this, be happy that you were monetarily arranged and start the way toward building the asset once more. Related articles. Retirement planning. Refresh your financial mindset. The 5 rules of financial health, according to an expert.